One of your favorites, my man, Kyle Daukaus, number 34 ranked middleweight. Kyle Daukaus versus number 53 ranked Jamie Pickett, the Night Wolf, AJ. And I'm a little bummed, to be honest with you, my man, because what we were supposed to see inevitably was Kyle Daukaus versus Kevin Holland, number 2 in the middleweight division. Kyle Daukaus actually had a fight fall out because he wasn't supposed to be fighting Jamie Pickett. He's not going to turn down Kevin Holland to fight Jamie Pickett. You know, no disrespect, but it's just one name versus another. And the reason why is because he was supposed to fight Julian Marquez, and Marquez had to pull out because of, I don't know if it was an injury, but something happened, right? So Kevin Holland, he drops down to welterweight. Who knows if we will ever see the Kyle Daukaus Kevin Holland rematch, but I would love to see it. But I will say to you, AJ, that fight he had against Holland told me a lot about the prospect of Kyle Daukaus, and I think he's a lot better than I even anticipated, even though we show him mad love on this show, my man. So when it comes down to it, Jamie Pickett, he needs to basically get his strikes going, basically be a downwards fighter, right? Be an avalanche fighter, punches and bunches, big shots, to kind of win his fights, man. Kyle Daukaus, though, he's so well-rounded. He could punch you up. As long as he grabs you and starts with that jiu-jitsu, man, it's going to be a long night. Jamie Pickett, no wins via submission. Kyle Daukaus, 80% of his wins via submission. No knockouts, 20% via decision. He's a former regional champion. Last fight was a no contest against Kevin Holland. But at the end of the day, man, almost a flawless record, 10-2. 6'3", 76-inch reach, man, so a little bit of shorter reach. But I really like this matchup because Jamie Pickett still needs to prove himself. Each fight, he says he's leaving a little bit in the cage and he wants to give that actual performance where he feels really good about it. He has a puncher's chance in this fight, absolutely. Like, absolutely. But when it comes down to being a well-rounded mixed martial artist, I think Kyle Daukaus, has a very clear edge in this fight. How do you see this playing out? Do you see this one ending early? Do you think Daukaus wraps him up, puts the backpack on him, and tries to choke him out? Or does Jamie Pickett, is he able to hold his own for the course of 3 rounds?
Oof. I mean, I do think Jamie Pickett, excuse me, folks. I think Jamie Pickett has a puncher's chance in this one. He can get things going. He's very fast, very powerful. But I agree with it. Even his own assessment, I think he's stayed a little bit reserved in all his fights. He hasn't had that showing performance that he really needs. I see this fight going down back and forth, at least to start it, kind of testing the waters, feeling each other out. But I think at the end of it, man, Kyle Daukaus smothers him, puts that backpack on, gets the submission. And I don't think it makes it to the distance, but I do think it makes it to the third. I just think Kyle Daukaus is just too well-rounded, man. Even if he stays patient in those first rounds, and maybe Jamie Pickett starts to feel himself out in that second, but then the second, the third, or the moment that third round starts, I think Kyle Daukaus takes it over, does what he needs to do to get the win, finishes him. But I do think Jamie Pickett, man, like you said, he has a puncher's chance in this one. Yeah. He has very long strikes, 2 very long kicks, so it's going to be hard for Kyle Daukaus to get in on that until Jamie Pickett starts to get tired.
Yeah, or if he can catch him in the in-between, right, when he's throwing those big looping shots, and then Kyle Daukaus can kind of get that takedown. Like, what he was able to do against Kevin Holland, brother, that speaks volumes, because let's be honest, Jamie Pickett versus Kevin Holland, who do you have in a fight? If they fight, who do you favor?
Kevin Holland.
But, like, why? You know what I mean? Is it because he's a better striker? Is it because he's more well-rounded? Like, what do you like about Holland over Pickett?
Oh, better striker, a little bit more rounded. Kevin Holland, his ground game isn't the most accoladed, but I do think it outpaces Jamie Pickett as well. Yeah. And then just the pressure too, man. The pressure that Holland puts on Jamie Pickett. Yeah. It's going to be hard to do those long strikes when you're moving backwards and the dude's in your face in that middle ground the entire time.
So then we look at that and say, okay, well, when Kyle Daukaus fought Kevin Holland, had that not been an illegal headbutt, who's to say how that fight would have ended? I'm not going to say Kevin Holland was for sure going to lose, but the momentum was definitely in favor of Kyle Daukaus, like, without a doubt. Like, you can't even doubt that right there. So even all the big, super Kevin Holland fans like myself on this program, I still got to say, yeah, Kyle Daukaus probably would have won that fight, probably by submission. You know what I mean? His grappling is just wicked, man. So with that being said, against Jamie Pickett right here, man, I just think Kyle Daukaus has more tools. I say that for a lot of these fighters, but in all honesty, the grappling is going to be nasty. His clinch work is going to be nasty. He has, in recent history, in 2019 through 2020, 3 wins via Darce choke, man. So those long arms, you just got to watch out if you're Jamie Pickett. If he shoots on Kyle Daukaus and Daukaus sprawls out and gets that Darce, it's going to be an ugly night, but he also got a lot of rear naked choke wins. Overall in his career, I believe the man has 5 Darces and like 4 rear naked chokes, man. So he's a very bread and butter type fighter. I know the Darce can seem like a fancy Tony Ferguson move, right? But it's not. It's a very simple, fundamental, move, especially when someone's being a pressure heavy fighter. Overall, AJ, in what scenario do you see Kyle Daukaus getting a finish here? Like, what are the odds If they fought 10 times, how many times is Kyle Daukaus getting a finish as opposed to how many times is this going to a decision if you are leaning Daukaus? Because I just find this being a kind of a puncher's chance type fight for Jamie Pickett. What do you think?
I agree with you. I mean, it is a big puncher's chance. Like, he has a little bit more chance to go to, and I think it's about 7 of 10 times. If they fight 10 times, Kyle Daukaus gets to finish 7, and probably 6 of those are submissions. I don't really see the knockout coming. But, I mean, Kyle Daukaus does have the power. The problem is in that blitz that Jamie Pickett likes. He likes to sit there. He'll let stuff happen, and then he blitzes in. You do that against a submission guy, and he takes you down instantly. It's a rough night right there, man.
Absolutely. And once again, I don't want to say that we're disparaging Jamie Pickett, because he is a really, really good fighter, but he's just had a rough start to the UFC career. When we look at it, he got the win over Jonah Van Pazzi. That was the dude in the Contender series where he blitzed him and he ended up getting the finish. It was beautiful. When he's able to let his hands go and really let go, like, oh man, he's dangerous. But then he fights Stefan Nchukwi. We know how that goes. Loses a decision. Fights Jordan Wright, the Beverly Hills Ninja. Gets knocked out in the first round. He wins against Laureano Staropoli in a decision, but Laureano Staropoli is a welterweight who moved up to middleweight, so it's like he had a huge size advantage. Got a decision, and then in his last fight against Joseph Holmes, he gets a decision. Still wasn't very happy with his performance, and that's kind of the point that I'm taking away. You have to leave everything out in the cage if you're going to win against Kyle Daukaus. We know how skillful he is, and for that reason, I'm going Kyle Daukaus. Let's take a look at the over and under on this one really fast, brother, and it looks like it is 2.5 rounds, minus 175 for the over and plus 145 for the under. So where are you going, over and under?
I'm going with the over on this one, Derek. Okay. I just think this one's a huge step up in competition for Jamie Pickett. It's going to be very hard, and I'm going Daukaus by submission, round 3. I think it's going to happen later in the thing. Let Jamie Pickett express himself. Let him get the cardio going, and then Kyle Daukaus puts a backpack on him and drowns him in the deep waters.
Okay, I like the pick. I'm favoring Daukaus as well, clearly. Minus 220 favorite in this fight. But I like Daukaus, and I'm taking the under. I think he gets it done in the second round via submission. I don't know if it's going to be a Darce choke, but I could see a rear naked choke happening very, very easily. I just think it's going to be one of those, like, he just puts the backpack on him, man, and once it gets there, man, it's tough. It's tough when you got a long, lanky dude on top of you, man, who's really, really good at grappling. So that is your co-main event for UFC Vegas 48.